release rate. So for the mode 1, all the derivations and all we had, and with respect to the relation between the energy release rate and the stress intensity factor is this. G1 is equal to K1 square by E. E is the Young's modulus, G is the energy release rate. Okay, energy release rate. This G is different. Okay, this G is different. This G is different. This is energy release rate. This is shear modulus. Don't confuse. Okay. The G suffix with 1, 2, 3, 4 means energy release rate with respect to the respective modes. Right. And with respect to the plane strain, this is what 1 minus mu square will add. This is Poisson's ratio. Similarly, for the mode 2 relation. Mode 2 means you know that it is a sliding mode. It is a sliding mode for plane stress and plane strain. But whereas the G3, it is a tearing mode. It is a tearing mode. So what is the relation between these two things means? It is something like G3 is equal to K3 square by 2G. So this G is shear modulus. Okay, shear modulus. Suppose in your work or in your analysis, if all the modes are present, okay, then each mode is to be added. That is your G total. Something like suppose you have like this. This is purely mode 1. So this is completely, this is mode 1. This is completely ruled by G1. Suppose you have same thing. But load is acting like this. Then slip will happen like this. Then this is mode 2. So this is completely ruled by G2. G2. Similarly, if you have tearing mode, here something like the force is acting like this. Okay, so it will tear, the surface will tear, isn't it now? So that particular tearing is completely G3. There won't be any mix up of G1 or G2. Because the way it is been applied forces, it will produce only purely the energy with respect to the third mode. But in practical point of view, the direct component of such scenario are very limited, because we don't know in practically our fracture or flaw, it may available or it may be there in any direction inside the material. So when that particular crack is subjected with the system of forces, then you can't expect only purely mode 1 or mode 2 or mode 3. It can be any combination. It can be any combination. For example, if you have a crack something like this, then okay, then you will have G1 and G2. Likewise, it depends. Okay, so in any analysis, probably you will enjoy when you do the finite element analysis of fracture mechanics, wherein that particular system will automatically brings you the how much actually G1, how much is G2. Suppose a G is 100%, let us say. Okay, G1 it will tell you how much percentage, and G2 will be how much percentage. It depends. It depends. Suppose if G3 also available, then G3 also. So G1 plus G2 plus G3 should be equal to G. But we don't know how much. Suppose this is 100% energy means, so this may be 20, this may be 40, this may be again 40, or any combination it can be inside. This is this is called something like mixed mode. People used to call it is mixed mode problems. Mixed mode. Okay, right. Now, when the failure will really start, because the load is acting, the loads are acting, so there will be a resistance by the material. Then when will the crack will start expanding? That is the condition we need to check when this will happen. Because the moment you apply, there is a crack. Suppose you apply a force. You apply a force. Okay, your energy also increasing. On the other hand, here the resistance also will increase. The resistance also will offer. It will not increase. It will defend. Okay, the resistance may be a single number, isn't it? No, resistance will be a single number. When your G cuts beyond, then only you will have the, what you call that? You will have the failure. Muthu oru nimisham vaanga. Muthu. தமாசா இருக்கு. நல்லா இருந்துச்சு. ஸ்ட்ரிக்ட்லி ஸ்பீக்கிங் காலர் இல்லாம போடக்கூடாது. அதாவது ஜஸ்ட் இல்ல ஐம் ஜஸ்ட் ஓகே. எங்கடா யாரும் ஸ்டூடெண்ட் வந்திருக்கான் பார்த்தேன். சரி, ஓகே, கிளாஸ்ல இருக்கேன். So, sorry pa, just Muthu came with a new costume, so I was talking to him. So, when the crack will start? So, what is the condition? What is the condition a crack will start? There should be some condition, no? There should be some condition. So, what is the condition means? Okay, essential condition or the sufficient condition is, or the necessary condition is, necessary means what? Must. G1 should be equal to R1. Then only crack will be there. Or always the resistance when the G meets and crosses R, then only this is the onset of the crack expansion. This is R, this is G, because your G will increase with respect to load. But R is the resistance material parameter. It is a constant for that particular material. Okay, so when your G meets R, then that's a necessary condition. Crack will try to expand. So this is the necessary condition. G equal to R1 or G2 equal to R2 or G3 is equal to R3. For brittle material, this is also a sufficient condition. This is also a sufficient condition. There are two conditions. One is necessary condition, another one is sufficient condition. The brittle materials, you know the behavior. It doesn't have the yielding property. Brittle materials doesn't have the yielding properties, like your glass, like your chalk piece, like your high strength alloy material, or your what you call that, cast iron. Likewise, so many materials you can give examples for this particular brittleness. So such materials, you don't look for the sufficient condition, because strictly speaking, you have to check for two conditions: necessary condition, sufficient condition. Why? When the crack will supposed to start. So necessary condition is what? G1 equal to R1. For the brittle material, it is also a sufficient condition. But whereas when the material is somewhat shows the ductility, then another condition also you need to check. What is that? It is a slope of that particular thing. Dou G by dou A is equal to dou R by dou A. A is the crack length. This also needs to be checked, whether the crack will move or not, whether the crack will increase or not. We need to check. This is called sufficient condition. Sufficient condition. So there are two conditions has to be fulfilled. There are two conditions. Okay, has to be fulfilled when the crack will expand or not. Necessary condition and a sufficient condition. For the brittle materials, okay, one condition itself, one particular formula itself will serve for both the conditions. Whereas for the ductile material, you need to check, in addition to G is equal to R, you have to do another condition, that is a slope, dou G by dou A is equal to dou R by dou A. This you will realize after few slides what exactly, why all these things you will really enjoy in the second condition also. So fracture of high strength ductile material, this is important. Okay, is possible only when both the conditions are satisfied. When both the conditions are satisfied. Is there any doubt for so far?
No, sir.
Dev, say yes.
Yes, sir.
Ashwin,
Sir.
Aditya,
Yes, sir.
Swaroop,
Yes, sir.
Abhishek,
Yes, sir.
Santita.
Yes, sir.
Good. All are you in the system? Good. Okay, there are two conditions. Now you see here. Now you see here. Graphical representation of condition or fracture for a brittle material. Brittle material. So this already I have told you. This is something like x-axis is the crack length. Crack length. This is energy. This is energy. This is energy. Y-axis is energy. Now you will have the surface energy. You will have the surface energy. So when the crack increases, your surface energy will increase because you are getting new surfaces. This is what fixed grips. Fixed grips. That means constant displacement. There are two conditions we have explained. Constant load, constant displacement. Fixed grip means constant. This one. In that case, the strain energy, okay, is coming like this. It is negative term. It is negative. So when your crack advances, your strain energy, okay, will form like this. Increase and decrease will form like this. Because of a crack, your surface energy increases. You add both. This is positive. This is negative. Okay, the curve will come like this. Surface energy and strain energy. So this point is important. This point. So what is this point? Incremental crack growth by crack growth mechanism. Okay, this is the crack growth period. Once the crack achieves the critical length, then you will have the catastrophic failure. The catastrophic failure comes, suddenly you will get the drop. Suddenly you will get that drop. So this is the point. This is the point. Okay, this is the point. Okay, this is the point. So the critical stress or critical crack can be determined by equating the surface energy with respect to the stress intensity factor or the energy. Sigma root A is equal to 2 root of 2E surface energy by pi. Okay, so when the crack becomes AC, fracture will happen. That is the catastrophic nature of failure. This slide is very, very important. This slide is very, very important. Graphical representation of condition of fracture for a brittle material. Very, very important. When you have a experiment, let us say this is our experiment. So let us like always mode 1. Okay, now we the mode 1, I have a crack length. Drawing is very poor. Okay. Okay. Oh. Okay, crack length A. You will have force P. Okay. Now, okay, a particular crack length. There are specimen with the crack length A1. If I apply a particular P, if I apply a particular P, what will happen? The crack increment, that is, it's supposed to start from here. Crack increment will not happen. Why? Because my crack length is small. To represent that particular scenario, you just see here the plot. For a crack length A1, if I apply P, okay, I will get a stress. That stress is, this is the resistance of the material. This is the material resistance. It is actually less than that, or just it is that. Okay, I may have different, suppose sometimes I may have this thing also. Suppose a particular A, it is very small, even it is very, very something like this. What do you call that? Less than the R. Then another instant, crack length, another specimen having crack length A1, Whereas whatever stress, again, it is just produced at to touch this one. To touch this one. Then I will have another specimen, will have a A2 crack length, A2 crack length. Okay, that also, okay, will touch, or it will cross the R line, resistance, critical line. Now, the condition is for a crack length A, fracture occurs when sigma reaches sigma C. I may have different crack length, A, A1, A2, A3, whatever it is, okay, A, A1, A2, A3, A4, like that, okay. So let us say, okay, A2 like that, A3 like that. A particular A will produce a particular sigma n. That is what they are saying. For a given crack length A, fracture occurs for particular sigma. What is that sigma n? That particular sigma n is greater than, it is a carrying capacity, critical stress. Crack will initiate. The same thing I can tell in terms of energy also. For particular crack length, it will produce an energy. That energy is greater than the material's critical energy. The crack will develop. So I can quote in terms of stress. I can quote in terms of energy. Because slowly I'm introducing stress also. But longer crack requires less sigma for fracture. That means what? The crack length is compared to A2, A2 sigma 2, A3 sigma 3. A3 is bigger crack length. A3 is bigger crack length. So the stress, okay, will be more. The creating stress will be more, because that is the the given crack length, the fracture occurs sigma. That is okay. Longer crack requires less sigma for fracture. That means it will this is something like this is something causing a resistance. Okay, we should not confuse, because the sigma C2 fracture initiate, what I would say, when you have something like crack is small, okay, let us say crack is small crack, okay, A is small, it will produce a sigma, it will produce a sigma, okay, it will produce a sigma. This sigma is more, obviously. When the, just a minute, there is a phone. Hello. when your crack A is big, then sigma will be less. The creating, that is the sigma, what you call that, the resistance will be less. Okay, because the crack is more, stiffness will come down, the resistance will be less. So it will something like when you talk about sigma C, less sigma C, less sigma itself, the crack will initiate, because you don't find the resistance in terms of sigma. When the crack is small, you will get, the resisting sigma more. When the crack becomes more, the sigma, resisting sigma less. Resisting sigma is less because you lose the stiffness. If that is the case, quickly the crack will form. Quickly the crack will form. So if you take this particular figure, okay, if you take this particular figure, you can see here, for the crack length A1, you will have sigma C1. For the crack length A2, you will have sigma C2. Okay, you see here, sigma C2 is less than sigma C1. Okay, but still, okay, that reaches the R. Somehow it will reach the R. Everything will reach to R. When it touches, then fracture initiate from here. Fracture initiate from here. Then after that, what will happen? After that, because once it crosses R, fracture will increase. Then there are two conditions exist. One is fixed grip, another one is constant load. In the constant load, you will get the aftermath, the post fracture behavior is like this. In the constant displacement, the behavior is like this. So in the constant load scenario, what will happen? In the constant load scenario, what will happen? Okay, so how to calculate my G1? How to calculate my G1? That means hello? 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 May I know who's speaking?
My name is Chinna. I'm calling from SBI Credit Card.
Madam, I'm in a meeting. You call me later sometime. So, what is the G? How to calculate my G? G, okay, pi sigma square into crack length. Okay, this is what, okay, this is the initial crack length. Then there will be a crack increase, delta A by E. Pi sigma square A2 plus sigma A by E. Okay, this is what G1. This is what G1. So, the, what you call that? Something like your G1, okay, is something like depending upon the delta A as well as your sigma C2. And this is the delta A. Make sure that this is delta A. Okay, up to this is basically your crack edges here, something like that. So after that, delta A, delta A1, delta A2, it keep on going. Okay, it keep on going. So your G will vary depending upon your what you call that, delta A's. This is 1 delta A, 2 delta A, because it is jumping and going. Okay, it is jumping and going. For that particular load, will cause that particular sigma. In the case of fixed grips, that is constant displacement, energy release rate decreases as crack advances. Energy release rate decreases as crack advances. Whereas in the constant load, it will be the positive. Now, for both the constant load and the fixed grips, the condition for onset of crack growth is same. You can see here. Okay, here the onset of crack growth is same. Okay, the both fixed grip or constant load, the condition for onset of crack is same because G is equal to R. Okay, there is no difference until this particular point. At the point of crack instability, the energy release rate is the same at both cases because here also the energy release rate is same for both the cases. You can see here it touches the same point. In fixed grip, since external load does no work, the energy release rate decreases as the crack advances. Okay, here the potential energy part is 0, that is what it becomes negative. For further discussion, let us consider the constant load case. Increase of energy availability leads to increase in crack velocity. Increase of energy availability leads to increase in crack velocity. Beyond a certain velocity, crack branching will occur. Crack branching will occur. Crack branching means what? One crack comes, then it goes like this. It goes like this. Another crack, it goes like this. It goes like this. It goes like this. Why? When the energy available is more, then it will form more surfaces. It will form more surfaces. It will form more surfaces. This is something like crack branching occurs. So this is what the simplified model of crack branching occurs. You can see here, okay, this is the crack length A. Then, okay, the critical length AC. Okay. So I will have different load. One particular load which touches the R, that is critical sigma C. That means here the same crack length, but I have different P1, P2, P3. So if I apply P1, always it touches here, no crack occurs. P2, no crack occurs. Only say, let us say P3, it will touch the R because P3 is more. After that, what will happen? It touches R, it is a fixed grips. Hello? So a particular P I'm applying. So it meets the R. That means that force is really heavy. So definitely it touches the R. So G equal to R. So this is the necessary condition and sufficient condition because it's a brittle material. So crack will form. Okay. So a resistance, a crack is formed. Okay. So a particular thing, a crack formed. So here 1 R. Okay. If this particular energy available is more from here to here, a crack branching happens. The crack branching happens means the two new surfaces will come, 2 new surfaces will come. So resistance energy also will increase. It goes like that. Then still energy is more, then again branches means at this particular point 1, 2, 3 resistance, that's what you will get 3R. So this is the phenomena of how the crack advances. Okay, delta A1, delta A2, because this is second occurrence. This is first delta A1, then it comes delta, it then comes. Then crack branching also will happen, because these are all phenomena of the highly brittle materials. These kind of things will not happen in ductile materials. That is what, when the glass breaks, no, it will have different pieces. Each piece means what? It is in between 2 crack branching locate zones. Okay. I think I will stop it here. I will continue in the next class. Any doubt, Ma?
Sir?
Any doubts?
Sir, yes, sir. One small question, sir.
Please go ahead.
Sir, we saw those 2 conditions, no, sir. A necessary condition and this sufficient condition. Sir, so that for in brittle material, the necessary condition is the sufficient condition for fracture, sir.
Yeah, you need not check the second condition.
Yes, sir. So for in ductile material, if there is only necessary condition is occurring, then the material will only yield, sir.
Yeah, no. There you cannot say whether the crack will really become or not. You have to check the sufficient condition. If both the conditions are all positive, then only crack will move.
Okay, sir.
Just by looking G equal to R1 alone, you cannot say the crack will happen.
It might or may not.
Pardon, Pa?
No, sir. If only necessary condition is achieved, it might or it might not crack.
Yes.
Like that.
It's for ductile material.
Yes.
This you will realize still some more, one more classes you will understand in a better sense.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Can we close the class today?
So, yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Bye-bye.